Thanks. Thank you. Radical Candor, how to stop guessing and fearing feedback. A message popped up on Slack. Am I the toaster? My Italian colleague had messaged me while our manager was describing her Italian toaster, which, although looked beautiful, had a problem in that it either always undercooked or burnt the toast. I laughed as I realised my colleague had taken this to be a metaphor as some sort of indirect feedback and cue that she needed to be better. It definitely wasn't this, but it did get me thinking about the times where I've jumped to similar conclusions and our shared experience of second-guessing what we think other people are thinking about us and our work if we're not getting clear and direct feedback. Feedback has been obscured by management techniques such as this, the outdated shit sandwich method, or also known as the more palatable hamburger method. This method or technique involves layering one slice of suspicious praise, a really shitty standout middle, and ending with a shriveled positive finish. Being vague in its approach just spawns confusion. We need to take feedback as, with this crappy technique, or a lack of feedback, it's no wonder we jump to metaphorical leaps. Obscurity in food needs to be taken out of feedback for us to understand what is actually being said. So let's look at how we can cure ourselves of fear and guesswork when it comes to feedback by looking more at the problem, looking about how we can use radical candor and trust to overcome it, and ultimately how we can reframe feedback as a tool for growth and connection. Feedback is a gift, or is it? It really started to bother me that the cliche feedback is a gift, although should be true if seen as a tool for growth, didn't really feel it. Instead, we've seen feedback's confused. It's a blur of praise and criticism in a sandwich with a sprinkling of guesswork. It could feel unnerving like this slide. What's gone wrong? Or it's software update notification. It pops up and you never know if it's going to improve anything or just mess up your settings. This can feel more like a penalty than a gift because we don't know how we're going to end up feeling or how we make someone else feel. And sometimes feedback just doesn't seem quite right. And maybe that's because it's not. Maybe it's feedback in disguise. Feedback shouldn't be unclear, it shouldn't be vague or criticism, and it shouldn't be a personal attack. But when it is in one of these disguises, that's when we can come to fear it. We can fear judgment if criticism is labelled incorrectly. We can fear personal attack if feedback about our character is misplaced for feedback about our behaviour. We may fear positive feedback if we don't trust the intention of which it's being given. And we may just fear the mirror being shown before us if we just get confused about what it's trying to say. This is where radical candor comes into its own as a technique and a compass for feedback. It offers us a framework in order to understand helpful behaviours in giving feedback. Radical candor is all around caring personally whilst challenging directly. And when we do this, we can step into a place where we can be clear and compassionate in giving and ultimately what we choose to accept as feedback too. When these two behaviours aren't in balance, that's where we get the feedback failures that we see on the other realms of the compass. We'll look at those together in order to understand more about the importance of radical candor. Ruinous empathy. If ruinous empathy was a character, it would be Joy from the movie Inside Out. As lovely as Joy is, her feedback would be short-sighted in its approach, focusing too much on the caring personal aspect and not on the challenge directly. This could lead to feedback that would not necessarily help in terms of growth, as it's not leaning into things that may be more uncomfortable. Or the feedback failure may look like manipulative insincerity. This can be seen as the worst kind of feedback fail, for it fails to care personally nor challenge directly. Instead, it can turn up in the form of false flattery or harsh criticism behind someone's back. Cue our character, David Brent from The Office, who does manipulative insincerity a little too well. Or it may form obnoxious aggression, and you cannot have obnoxious aggression without a picture of Donald Trump next to it. This style of Trump feedback would be all around the challenge direct aspect and not on the caring personally. With this type of feedback, it would come across as unkind, harsh, and insincere. But here is our hero, Radical Candor, and the characterization, the wonderful Sandy Toksvig. It's all around getting the balance between caring personally and challenging directly. And when we do this, we can step into an environment of mutual support, respect, and growth. In Sandy's own words, and words that are true when we think about radical candor, it's thinking about the other person more than we're thinking about ourselves. So looking back at the compass of radical candor, we can offer feedback that's specific, kind, and sincere. At the heart of it, it's about being open and honest, even when it feels uncomfortable, because it allows us to give people information that they need in order to make positive changes about their behavior or their performance. So we can start to see feedback as a gift, but only if it's coming from a place of trust. This is essential. And as with all strong descriptors and powerful cliches, gift becomes an acronym, but it's one that's really important to help us remember at the heart of what radical candor is about. It's feedback that's given with permission, its intention is for growth, it's for the person, not about the person, and it's targeted for success. So we use our guide stars, connection by caring personally, or challenging directly for growth. And when we do this, we allow ourselves to grow ourselves like we do with our products and our processes by using feedback that's clear and direct. So starting to pull all this together, when we're giving feedback, we're aiming to assist. We're making it for the person, not about the person. In giving feedback, we're making it actionable. We're making it based on behavior, what we want to see more of, what we want to see less of. In receiving feedback, we can choose to accept or discard it. If it's not clear and direct, and it's not coming from someone we trust, we don't accept it as feedback. But if it is, we appreciate it. We say thank you to encourage more. And we do this in the spirit of radical candor. So putting the bow on top, radical candor allows feedback to be reframed as a tool for growth. It enables us to see our blind spots and move between closing the gap between our intention and our impact by being clear, compassionate, and direct. No more burnt toast, faulty toasters, or shit sandwiches accepted here. Thank you.